JKB back with another episode. Today I'm doing a special video for my mom. I've never done this on the show before, but it's Mother's Day and I literally have this quarter. So I can't, she lives hours away, so I thought, what's something I could do for my mom and show my appreciation to her. She'll probably cry when she's watching this because she's a big baby. Ooh, you know, she takes like sleeping pills at night and then she gets the munchies and we make fun of her. My sister, which you guys don't even know about really because I don't talk about personal things on the show, but I have a half sister, which is, you know, weird to say because I hardly talk to her. So shout out to her, by the way. Her name's Allison. And my sister and I are horrible to my mother when we get together. And I thought, for once, I need to be nice to my mom on the show. So what I'm doing today is telling you guys a little story. Every single time when I was a kid, listen, I didn't have a father growing up. I know I say that on the show here and there, and you guys are like, oh, boo-hoo, fucking loser. Well, something was replaced. That was my dad. I'm losing my track here, but my dad wasn't around. My mom, she would go out and work ridiculous hours. I remember she worked all the time when I was young, and every single time a new system came out, she made sure that I had it, which is just... I wouldn't be doing the show without my mom doing that for me. I remember getting the Game Boy on day one, like 26 years ago, I guess it was now. I remember coming home and giving me the brand new Game Boy, a case, Tetris, Alleyway, Mario. She made sure that everything was there. And it was a lot of money. And we lived on zero money. And for her to do that constantly, the Game Gear came out. She brought that thing home and it was worth hundreds of dollars. She made sure I had a case, 2 games, charging station, which I'll tell her right now, she doesn't know this, but she gave me the Game Gear and you could put the battery pack into the back of it, and the very first thing I did was break the tab on the battery pack that kept it in place. You know, it clicks in place on there. So I hid that from her. She never knew that. She knows it now, probably watching this. She's probably laughing, but without my mother, the show wouldn't happen. It would never have happened. You know, growing up in Barrie, Ontario, the city is just white trash. Most of it. You know, I'm probably never going to be invited back there. And I realized that, like, growing up, I always looked at other people and thought, like, how do they have that, and that, and that, and, like, a father and all that stuff? Then I realized my mom was doing the best she could under the circumstances we were in. She was getting me all these video games. She was getting me, you know, something that I looked at, you know, I looked up to these video gamers out there. I looked at these kids and I thought, you've got a Nintendo, you've got a Game Boy, you've got all this stuff. And it was never, for me, like, growing up, I was a shit kid. You know, I used to go to, yeah, maybe I wouldn't tell that story, but I used to do horrible things in school. My mom would, like, have to deal with this, the outcome of that. And, you know, I remember getting in a lot of trouble. And my mom was just there to sort of say, you know, you fucked up, but you'll never do it again, right? And I never did do that again. She knows what I'm talking about. But it just, yeah. I mean, without my mother, there's no show. So you guys need to know that. You know, I never really talk about this. My mom was the one that reconnected me with my shitty ass dad, who I, you know, don't talk to anymore, but it was her idea to say, like, maybe we should do that. And before I met my dad, my mom knew it was important that I had some sort of father figure, and I never went to school apparently, but father figure in my life. So we went to the Big Brother Association and she signed me up for that. And that was all her doing. You know, I was too young. I was like 6 or 7 or 8. And I remember just having a big brother. And if you don't know what that is, that's an association where they take older men and their wives. They might not be able to have kids. And I was put into a home, not taken away from my mom, but I was like sort of invited into a family. And I was their son, kind of. Not really their son, because that would be creepy. Like, I went there and they're like, hello, son. Welcome to the family. Get in the cage. That would be fucked up. But I remember going to Leafs games because of that. And that was my mother again. Now, I have to apologize to her. I was horrible at times, skipping school, just horrible nonsense. You know, like just inviting my friends to move in with us, and horrible. So I gotta say a few things directly to my mom. First and foremost, thank you for letting me do the show and giving me all of that stuff. Without my mother, again, none of this exists. I gotta apologize that I'll never give you grandkids. I don't want kids. I want to strangle them, mostly, like a lot of them, because they're loud and they have snot coming out of their fucking noses all the time. Piss off. I don't like kids, so I'm sorry you're not. Maybe, you know, my sister's gonna give you that. Grandkids, I'm not. Sorry. I'm gonna get my tubes tied. And in closing, I gotta say something else. My Oma, this is Mother's Day. Another, you know, this is kind of weird because growing up, my grandparents, my Oma and Opa, they got me into games essentially in the beginning, and my mom was the one that sort of saw that I loved them, and she took that and ran with it and made sure I had absolutely everything growing up, made sure I was taken care of, made sure that, you know, I'd have food. Not a lot of the best food growing up. She's laughing right now. Her meatloaf, it was okay. I'm alive. Yeah, anything else I need to apologize for? Sorry about that time I had the warrant out for my arrest, and they called you and said, you have to turn in your son. That was a misunderstanding. She knows what I'm saying. But thank you, Mother. Thank you for everything. Without you, I wouldn't have a lot of stuff in this room. I wouldn't have this show, like I said. And also, I wouldn't have life because I came out of your vagina. But that's too much info. Thank you. Thank you to my mom. And also a special shout out to my Oma, who was always there as well, buying me new video games for the system, Sega Master System. We'd go to, you know, Zeller's, a big chain in here in Canada, and she'd be like, boom, do you want something? And I just grab Wonder Boy 2 or whatever it might be. My whole family has been incredible on the female side. My Opa, who passed away, was a big part of that too. So shout out to him, and no shout out whatsoever to my father, because it's Mother's Day, and you know, my mother did an amazing job. My father did jack shit, basically. So hey, but that's how life is. You know, I like to be real on this show. I like to come here and just tell you stories, and today had to be Mother's Day special video. I've said that backwards because I watched too much Yoda in Star Wars. I'm running out of steam here, Mom. I mean, you did a good job on me. I have this beard. She says I look like a fucking serial killer. My Oma said the same thing. I have to shave it because apparently I'm a serial killer now. Thanks, Mom. Hey, so see you guys in the next episode. Please comment below and thank my mother for having me, because without my mother, I wouldn't be here. Which is, yeah, that's true. Thank you. Love you, Mommy. I'll see you in the next episode of JKP. JKP. Love you, Mom.